Good? Perfect. Alrighty. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Dylan. I'm with Art with a Heart. I am one of the artists here at Wilson Children's Hospital. Um, and we will be painting this piece, which is the perspective of you laying on the floor, looking up towards the sky that we see all the trees in your vision. It's fall/autumn themed, so we're going to be using all these fun colors. This don't worry, you're not being graded. So this is just for fun art. So relax, enjoy the show, have fun. I'll go step by step throughout the whole piece. That way you guys are able to follow along. If there's anything you want to change, this is your painting. You get to take it home with you. So just let the creativity run wild. Branch out. So yeah, I'm gonna move this out of the way. Now you guys have all seen what the final piece will look like. You have two brushes. You should have a big brush and a medium brush. We're gonna be a big brush first to cover our background. And then when we start getting to all the details, like the tree, we'll start using the medium brush. For the leaves, you have two options. With the leaves, you could use the medium brush and kind of dab the leaves onto the branches, or take one of your paper towels and crumple it into a ball, and then kind of like dab around the tree to add the leaves. So either the paper towel technique or one of your brushes. It does not matter. You have your paint in front of you, and the paint is washable. So it's okay if you get it on yourself or the table. We've been painting at this hospital for many years, so they know that it comes off of the tables as well. You have a plate. You should have another plate as well that is for mixing colors. So I usually like getting those two separated. That way I know where they both are. And you have your cup of water. And the best way of cleaning your brush is to paint the bottom of the cup. You want to stick it all the way to the bottom, paint back and forth, put some pressure on that brush. That way it pushes out some of that paint that wants to hide in the bristles. And then I usually squeeze all the water out with two fingers and then paint your paper towels. That way, if you see that color that you used last on your paper towels, you know to redo the same steps again with cleaning the brush. And that is the last thing before we get started. So everyone, let's find our big brush. We'll be using the big guy first. And I am going to double dip with this brush. So I'm going to have the blue on one side and white on the other. I'm probably going to grab a whole lot more white than blue. That way it's like a lighter blue. Uh, the main thing is to make sure when we start our background that it's nice and smooth. You don't want it to be globby, because if it's globby, it's going to dry slower and it's going to give you lots of bumps that you want to try to avoid. So I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to grab my blue on one side, and then I'm going to grab lots of white on the other. And I'm just going to fill in this whole area. I typically do like X formations. That sometimes helps. Also, getting the brush a little bit of wet water as well will help kind of move the paint around more smoothly. So just wetting the brush just a little bit also helps as well. So I'm just taking lots of white and little amounts of blue, just trying to get the background covered. I mean, I guess if you want to like put a glob of blue on there first, and then take the white and go on top of it, just to make it easier for you, you could. I take off my edges just because one, it's a really big sheet of paper, and two, I want to have a nice frame. So that's something you can do at home with more of your art if you are into art. That way you kind of save money on buying a frame. Give you a nice border. Now I'm just trying to make sure I cover all the surface. Want to make sure there's no white paper showing. Get it all covered. Wet my brush again. I periodically just wet my brush throughout the process. That way I don't have to fight with the surface too much. Perfect. Grab lots of paint. I got a big surface to paint. Just stay loose, have fun. That's the most important part about art. It's not like math. There's no right or wrong answers here. And like I said, you're able to kind of change things or like removing, like I have 3 trees in the piece. If you just wanted to do one, or if you wanted to do more than 3, you definitely could. So. All right, I need to wet my brush again. There we go. I don't know how many people out there know who Bob Ross is, but every time I do this, I feel like Bob Ross. I'm actually wearing a shirt today with Bob Ross on it. And I also have socks on with Bob Ross as well, just to help out a little bit.
Channeling the spirit of Bob Ross.
Channeling the spirit of Bob Ross, exactly. And if you want, like in mine, I have like a couple of areas where maybe the blue is a little bit more intense or darker. So if you want to have some of your sky darker, just add more blue. If you want some of the sky lighter, just add more white. Sometimes it's nice to have different shades of blues in the sky. Almost there. I'm gonna have to put the thing on here because it is very lovely after I finish my background. I don't know about you guys, but I am excited about fall. I love Thanksgiving. It'll be Christmas before you know it. I've been trying not to blink as much nowadays because I feel like it's been going way too fast. Right. And it's great weather too. You can even paint outside. It's so nice. That's what I do whenever I feel like it's better if you're like into like painting landscapes to like visit outside and paint where you're at instead of like going on Google and looking up pictures of. I mean, you still could, but I feel like it's a little bit easier. It's a lot more fun just to get out in nature and paint and draw, sketch. One more area, and then I will be good on my background. All right, I think I am good on the background. Go ahead and make sure to grab out that piece right there. There we go. Hopefully that helps. All right. What kind of vest should you guys wear in fall?
What kind?
A harvest.
Oh,
harvest.
Pretty good.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
All right. So right now what I'm doing is since I finished my background, I am taking the brush that I just used to fill in my area. And I am putting some pressure on the bottom of the cup and painting back and forth. just until I think I got all that color out. And then I'm gonna use 2 fingers, and I'm gonna squeeze all that water back out into the cup. And that way I'm also not like soaking my paper towels, and I'm not having to go through as much too. So I'm kind of preserving my paper towels by doing that. So I usually recommend that. And then after I squeeze back all the water back into the cup, I'll paint my brush back.
Did you bring up?
Thank you. Okay. So what I'm gonna do next is I'll probably use the big brush and our medium brush. I'm gonna use the big brush first because I'm gonna be doing that big tree that just comes out of this corner and it goes kind of pretty close to this corner. It stops like around there. So I'm gonna take my big brush, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take brown paint, and I'm not going to use the big side of the brush. I'm going to use the side of the brush. So I'm going to have my brush vertical, not horizontal. That way I get a line. So I'm going to take brown. I'm going to start in this bottom corner right here. And this does not have to be perfect. Trees are not perfect in nature. It does not have to be straight line. And we're going to be painting on top of this line. So it's okay. Don't stress out. I'm going to start from this corner. And I'm going to take the line about to maybe right there. I'm not going to go super high up. So you should have something like that after you take brown and put that in your big brush. Your big brush. And what I typically do after I make this line is because you know how trees, when you look up at them, it goes from big to small. I'm going to start at the top with brown again using the vertical side of my brush. I'm going to make this really kind of thin triangle, but I'm going to make sure that it starts small. And as I go down, it gets wider and wider, like this. And then what I'll do after that is I'll fill it in afterwards. So I'll take my big brush with some more brown, and I'm just gonna paint the inside of it. And you can do the X marks or just paint up and down. It's up to you. There's lots of different ways you can apply paint to your surface. I think using the side of the big brush helps more. Yeah, just kind of take your time, make sure you're filling in that whole area of no tree trunk. And we're going to put more details on top of the trunk afterwards. This is just the base layer of the tree. I'm not going to do the smaller ones yet. I'm going to do that after the leaves. And you'll see why when I get to it. I'm just going to make that a little thinner at the top. I got a little bit too wide at the top. Perfect. So you should have something like this once you finish painting in that shape, that triangle shape. If you're not using a brush and it has paint on it, I also forgot to mention to put it in your water cup. That way the paint doesn't dry on the brush as well. So if you do have both brushes covered in paint, like for instance right now, I just used the big brush. I'm going to put that in my water cup. That way the paint doesn't dry onto the brush. That's very important with acrylic paint. This is tempera paint, but with acrylic paint, you definitely want to make sure you don't get the paint dry on the brush. So after you fill in this shape, we're going to be using actually, I lied. We're not going to be doing that. Now we are going to take one of your paper towels. And so I just take one of my paper towels and I just kind of crumple it into a ball. So this is for you guys who want to try out this method of applying leaves. It's a lot more fun and easier, and it doesn't take so long like how you would do it with a brush. So I like using the paper towels to add leaves. So I'm going to take my paper towel, I'm going to put it in a ball, and the first color I'll be using is red. So I'm going to take my paper ball, I'm going to dip it into the red. And what I'm going to kind of do is I'm going to try to stay around the frame of the paper. If you have another sheet, you can kind of put that sheet behind your painting. That way you don't get paint on your table as you're doing this method. But like I said earlier, this paint comes off with soap and water, so it's okay. I'm going to take my red and I'm just going to dab, 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 dab. Very light pressure. And I'm going to try to stay around the frame. And I will go in just a little bit, but for right now, I'm just staying in the frame. So I'm going to take red.
Dylan, your whole family's showing up on the stream saying hi.
Oh, hello, fam. Yeah, I'm just kind of staying around the frame of the piece. And I'm doing light pressure. I'm really not pushing down too hard with the paper towel. And I'm also not really focused on covering the whole area. So it's okay if you have some sky showing, because we're going to be putting other colors into as well. So taking with the red first. Go all around the side. I will go out a little bit like this. You want to make sure you have different lengths. You don't want it all to be the same around the whole thing. So go out further in some areas than others. Different lengths. And like I said, I'm also going to be putting other colors in here as well. And I gave you guys, we gave you the primary colors. So that is the red, blue, and yellow. So after we finish with the red, we'll be using our mixing tray and we're going to mix orange. And the way to get the color orange are two colors. That is the red that we're using and yellow. But the cool thing is, if you want to use the mixing tray to mix the orange, you could. But the reason why I started with red first is because the red is still going to be red. And when I go over the red with yellow, it's going to turn orange. So that's the main reason why I started with red first, is because it's still wet and it'll mix and it'll become orange whenever you dab the paper towel on there. And it's okay if you get these leaves on your tree trunk. You actually kind of want that to happen a little bit. So now I'm going to go into it a little bit more like this, just in some areas. And I know I'm going to have a tree right here. So I'm going to dab some red in this area, just because I know that we're going to be putting a tree right there. So I'm also going to be having another tree right here as well. There's going to be a tree on both sides. So I'm kind of taking the red and I'm kind of going out like this, closer to the tree trunk. Okay, I think that should be good. So now it's up to you if you want to use like a different paper towel to grab the yellow or the same one. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to use the same paper towel that has red. And I'm going to grab yellow. I'm going to go on top of some of the red to turn it into orange.
Oh, so pretty.
Now, this is why I like the paper towel technique. It's very, very fun. It's easy to use. It's a great tool. I would say a paper towel, or if your parents are about to throw away a sponge to clean the dishes, using a sponge as well. Don't take the brush their sponge that you use to wash the dishes to paint with. Wait until they're about to throw it out. Don't do it. Um, as well. So yeah, a sponge will work, or paper towels. It's up to you. I personally like using the sponge a little bit more than paper towels, but paper towels are easier to use sometimes, and you can throw it away afterwards. I think I will, in some areas, mix orange on my plate, as well. That way it's more orangey than yellow. So I might do that as well. Yes, I feel like some areas aren't getting like orange enough. So I'm gonna eventually, whenever I'm satisfied with this, I'm going to mix orange. I do want some areas where it's like just yellow too. So this is good for now. Until I make the orange. Okay. So I'm gonna take my big brush and I'm going to take, after I clean it, I forgot there was brown on it. So I'm gonna clean my brush. It's like chocolate milk. Oh, it doesn't taste like chocolate milk, but
It's not this at all.
yeah, we'll test that out. So on my tray, I'm going to take my big brush and I'm going to scoop a scoop of red. I'm going to put that on my tray, just somewhere on my tray. And then right next door, I'm going to take yellow and I'm going to mix those two together. I might need more yellow. I would say to do maybe more yellow than red. That way you get to that orange a lot quicker. If you feel like you keep on adding more and more and more yellow to that red, I kind of sometimes like taking a scoop of it, putting it on a clean area of the plate, and then taking yellow and going on top of it. It turns orange a lot more quicker that way. But whenever I make the orange, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my paper towels. I'm going to take it and put it into a ball. And I'm going to use the paint that's on my brush already. And I'm going to paint the paper towel ball. And then I will add it. Oh, yeah, that's much better. Much better. Yeah. Or you can take the paper towel and put it into your mixture on the plate. Either one works. I sometimes like painting the paper towel just because it gets some of that paint off. And that way I don't have to clean it as much. So that's the only reason why I kind of first painted the paper towel. All right, look at my example, make sure I'm good. Okay, I'm gonna put some more color over here. I'm gonna take some just plain yellow. I'm gonna dab some yellow in here. Okay. Taking my time, kind of making sure I'm happy with all these areas. I'm gonna get a little closer to some areas. Well, of the tree. There. I think I'm gonna put some red over here, I think. Yeah, that's much better. I forgot to do the bottom. That's my fault. All right. This area is too orange. Put some yellow in there. Okay, perfect. I am all finished. Got the leaves in there. And you can always go back afterwards, like to add more to certain areas. Maybe after I put on the branches coming off this tree right here, and after I do my smaller trees, I might go back and kind of add more leaves. But for now, I think this is okay. Give you guys some more time to kind of work on your leaves. Why are trees so carefree and happy in the fall? This might be a little hard one. You might have your parents have to explain this one a little bit. I don't know. Because they can let loose. That is why trees are so carefree and happy in the fall because they lose all their leaves. So that's trying to think of some more like fall jokes. I love telling jokes. It's one of my favorite things to do. Especially when it comes to art. Gets you even more loose, getting funny and in the zone. All right. So the next thing I'll be doing is adding the branches that are coming off this tree, and then I'll be adding the smaller tree. So I'm going to take my medium brush. Mine's a little square. Some of you might have the more like square medium brush, and some of you guys might have the more rounded medium brush, but they both do the job. So I'm going to take my smaller brush, and I'm going to take brown. And to do branches, I channel in the letter Y for branches. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start on the edge. And I'm just going to start with a line. And on that line, I'm going to add another one to make the letter Y. You can see that. And typically I make the part that's closer to the tree a little bit wider, like the trunk. So I'll take brown and I'll just kind of add a little bit more to the bottom of that branch. And with the branches, sometimes using a little bit of water helps move the paint a little bit easier. So if you want to, you can, but I typically don't. So I'm just gonna add more leaves. Branches. Sorry, I'm still thinking about leaves. Just the letter Y. I think it helps to have some longer than others. The different lengths help as well, make trees look more realistic. But I have some that are kind of curving and like making the letter S. But as long as your branches are making the letter Y, you should be okay. I'm going to take the top of my tree and kind of curve that. Might wet my brush just a little bit. That way it helps. This paper has kind of weird texture to it. And it's okay if the leaves are still wet. You can just go over it another time on the branch to get it brown again. But it's okay. We're gonna go on top of that tree trunk anyway to add more colors. I think it's also cool to have some of the branches kind of overlap with each other as well. So I'm going to take more branches. I'm going to kind of overlap other ones. I think it makes a whole lot cooler when you have branches overlap. And sometimes the bigger branches has like tiny little branches on them. So just kind of adding lots of different sized branches help. Cool thing about painting trees is if you feel like you do have a branch and you're not really happy with it, you can kind of put leaves and cover it. So if you do have a branch that you don't like, that is okay. You can just cover it with some leaves afterwards. So got my tree. Some fun branches on there. I'll put some more branches coming off. You can do as many branches as you like. There's no specific number. And I'm pretty much with the smaller trees, I'm pretty much going to do the same thing I did with this first one. But I'm going to have this tree kind of angling more that way. And then I'm going to have this tree over here going this direction. So I'm going to make a line. And I want these to be smaller. I don't want them to be too big. I want this tree to be like the main. So I'm gonna make these two trees a lot smaller than the first one. And I'm making the bottom of the tree a lot wider, just like this one right here. Just using the side of the small brush, the vertical way. How we did that one. Branches. Yeah, just a little backstory on me. I've been working here for about 7 years with the Heart Healthcare. I started out as an intern with the University of North Florida, and I loved it so much that I wanted to be a part of this program a lot more. So I volunteered, and now I'm working with the program. Art has always been that one thing that always made me happy growing up. It was a safe place for me, and I try to do art every day, Monday through Sunday. I try not taking breaks because the more you do it, the better you get. There's lots of practice. I've been painting and drawing ever since I was maybe 5 years old. So I've been drawing and painting for over 20 years. So it just takes practice, just like anything, sports, learning a new instrument, uh, baking. There's lots of different arts out there that you can teach yourself. Um, Mainly, it was playing outside or doing art for me. Those were the two options I had. All right. I think that tree is pretty good. Add another branch on there. Yeah, the best part about painting trees also is they won't tell you it doesn't look like them. So that's why I typically like drawing and painting things that can't talk. So like trees and landscapes and food, and stuff like that. Um, I also like drawing pets and animals. It's not like if you paint your dog or cat and you bring it home and you show them, it's not like they're gonna say, "Well, that doesn't look like me," unless your dog can talk. I don't know. That'd be pretty crazy. But that's that's why I like doing pets and animals too. All right, so I think I'm happy with that tree. I'm gonna add another one right here, kind of going off the frame like this. So I'm gonna make that line first, and then I'm gonna make the bottom of the tree a little bit wider to show the trunk. And like I said, I'm making this tree, these two trees a lot smaller. That way it gives that perspective that you're looking up into the sky.
Are we done?
Nope,
Oh,
couple more.
oh, okay. I thought you were trying to get my attention.
Oh no, I was telling about the perspective
Oh, okay.
of the tree. False alarm. I will tell you guys another trick. So I didn't have YouTube growing up. So I typically, if I want to learn how to draw something, I would get like those how to draw books where they show you step by step on how to do things. So that also helped a lot with my drawing skills, the how to draw books. But if you go on our Facebook and social media, under our video section, there's a couple of videos that I've done of how to paint and draw different things. I also do like a little bit of art history lesson with it, so you're able to learn about the artists that I'm recreating in the piece and whatnot. So that's another cool resource is going on our website or social media and checking out some of the videos that we've made over the years. Yeah. I think I'm good on my trees. The next thing I was gonna do, just to give our tree a little bit more detail, is I'm still using the smaller brush. I'm without cleaning the brush, I'm gonna take white, and I'm still gonna have my brush vertical like this, but I'm gonna go across. So I'm gonna start on one side, and I'm just gonna flick the brush to give it this kind of um, texture. So I'm starting on one side of the tree, and I'm pushing forward in one motion, just one motion. Because if you go back and forth too much, you're just gonna blend the color. So I'm just taking just white and just pushing it in one direction. And you want to stop in the middle. Don't go all the way across. It's important that you stop halfway. You don't go towards the whole thing. And I'll do the same thing on like the little branches just to give it some more detail. And I'm just kind of, with the smaller branches, I'm kind of using the tip of the brush and I'm just dabbing. Just dabbing. If you accidentally did cover the whole thing, that's okay. You can take the brown and you can add brown to that side to get rid of it like this. So no mess ups. I'm also gonna do this method with the white on these smaller trees as well.
You got about 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Yeah. Looks good.
Thank you. And then the last thing I'll do before I close up our little session here, before I do, I want to thank everyone for stopping by and following along. I can't wait to see how your guys' pieces turned out. So make sure you share photos of your pieces because I definitely want to see them. Super excited. The last thing I'll do is I'm gonna mix white. So I'm gonna clean off my brush just in case. And I'm gonna mix white and a little bit of blue. So the colors that we use for the sky. And you want to make a baby blue color. And I'm gonna put this on my tree. Just in the areas where we put the white just now. That way it has some of the sky reflecting on the tree. And it gives it more color too. So I'm doing the same thing. I made a baby blue. And I'm just making these baby blue dashes into the trunk. And you don't have to do it all over it. You can kind of jump around and add this blue in different areas. It's up to you. Technically, don't even have to do the blue if you don't want to. You could just stop with the white. But I like doing the blue. My favorite color is blue. So yeah, if there's anywhere that you're like, I don't really like that branch, no problem. You can clean off the brush. I'd probably use the small brush if you do this. And you can just take the colors that you use for the leaves and kind of dab the brush like this to cover up certain areas of the branches that you don't like. So you can do the red, the orange. It actually looks cooler and do some of the dabbing with the brush in the paper towel. So if you want to take the small brush or your finger and kind of finger paint or do the brush like this to add more more realistic, make it more realistic, you could. So I'm gonna dab with the orange. I'm gonna dab with the yellow and the red. And then we'll close it out and you'll be all finished. Just kind of taking the red, the orange, and the yellow and just dabbing with the brush. Dab, 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 dab. Or like I said, you can use your finger, either one. And when if you do the finger, I just feel it costs too much. Does look cooler with the brush technique and the paper towel technique, so I definitely do recommend it. It's like more up close sleeves if you do the paintbrush technique. But yeah, and then once you do finish, the most important part, in my opinion, is the signature. So if you want, you could, if you have a pen or a pencil laying around, or you can use the brush, the small brush. I usually do my first two initials um, for like the signature, and I usually put that like on the bottom corner. So I'm gonna take brown, and I can just put my first two initials that way, it's nice and signed. And that's it. That's pretty much it. Like I said, I want to thank you guys for coming and spending your morning with us. And can't wait to see your guys' paintings. So thank you.